I'm David Smith, contributor to the Morgan Report, and we're here today in Phoenix. Beautiful day out today, and got an individual here named Ray Strello, and I've made Ray's acquaintance through an article that I worked on. I wrote for the Morgan Report a special report on Logan Resources, and I'd just like to talk to Ray today and get some of his insights. He really has a good scoop on not only Logan Resources, but the big picture, the management, and the properties, and this type of thing. So, Ray, why don't you give us some insights?
Well, I think Seamus Young is one of the nicest people in the world, and he's got some of the greatest directors that anybody could have. He has the Hunt people involved. He has Charles Vickers, who represents the Hunt brothers. He has Clifford Frame, who's a well-known mining engineer all over Canada with a fabulous record. And Steve Roman is also involved in a way that I met him up at the mine in the Yukon. It's got a lot of property. One of them, the main property, being a huge property called Shell Creek, which is the biggest electronic anomaly in the Yukon. He also has a Heidi property, which was an old Homestake property that was not drilled by Homestake because the price of gold had dropped so severely back in the early 1980s. And he also has a property called the Cheyenne, which has a great possibility of becoming a full-fledged gold mine.
You know, Ray, when I wrote that 14-page report last fall for the Morgan Report, which was dispensed first at the Toronto conference, and then I believe it's still being dispensed, but I was amazed at the variety of properties that they have, and you've kind of alluded to that a little bit, because they're not, as I mentioned, they're not a one-trick pony, and they've got properties on several different metals and whatnot. And I think what really impressed me so much was meeting with Seamus Young, and I know that you know him well, and I'm sure that you could give us some insights in that area too. I was very impressed with him as a person and as a professional.
Well, Seamus's background was that he was a prospector, and he started prospecting years ago in Ireland. Then he came over to the United States, and he's worked for some of the biggest copper companies, one of them being right here in the home state of Arizona. He then sold his business to his son, who is presently carrying on the prospecting business up in Canada, and he decided that he wanted to go out and find a mine. It's his goal in life to find a gold mine or a copper mine or some mine that will really mean something. He works very hard at it, and but you know, in mining, everything doesn't turn out the way you always want it to turn out. But he's looking forward to a good year this year. He's raised a lot of money, and he's got two targets, which I think he's going to go after. One is the Heidi, and the other one is the Cheyenne. And these are two good gold prospects that are up there. And I think that he's smart in shelving probably Shell Creek for a while, because gold seems to be the way to go right now, and he's got two fabulous targets. And he's had some airborne mapping of the properties, and he's found some good targets.
Well, you know, Ray, the thing that I like about Seamus also is that he's focused and driven, and he's not one of these execs that sits in the office and barks out orders and whatnot. He will actually get out there and stake the properties. I think that's somewhat unusual, even in the resource sector. If he sees something that he thinks is good, he gets out there and gets the staking done on it. And he just seems to be the type of person that's really going to keep at it. And he could have achieved fame and fortune elsewhere, but he loves mining, and he wants to find a mine, and I believe he's going to do it, you know. And when you think of the thousands of resource sector companies out there, many of which don't even have properties, and you look at Logan Resources, it really seems to me to be something that bears watching, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And another property went out in the stake last year is a property called Turn River, which is a huge uranium project. Incidentally, they've also got a joint venture partner on it for 50% of a well-known company, and right now I can't think of the name of it.
I can't think of the name of it either, Ray, but I'm sure just after we finish this recording we will. But can you think of anything else that, like if you were talking to investors, we all know that mining is a risky business and investing in mining companies is a risky business. There are no guarantees. But the thing that I found is if you get the right people, the odds are really on your side. And if you get the wrong people, it doesn't matter what they've got or what they stumble into, it probably won't turn out very well. So, it seems to me that there's some pretty darn good people there, not only in the management itself, but the people on the board of directors and some of the larger shareholders. Would you concur with that?
I certainly would confer with it. And something very important is that he raised $3.5 million here just recently, so he's all set. The mining stocks haven't been doing real good right now, and to have that money in for the next season is very important. And I think he's very lucky, and he's happy about it. He's looking forward to a good drilling season.
Well, Ray, I think we're here at the conference at the Joe Martin's first Cambridge House conference here in Phoenix, which is well attended and great speakers and great venue. And the view of the people that I spoke here with today seemed to be that this is going to be a long-term thing. It's not a flash in the pan. We're going to see a number of years of higher resource prices because of the world demand and whatnot. And I think the companies that can find the goods and deliver on them are the ones that are going to really prosper. So the resource sector has lagged lately. Gold and silver have been strong and whatnot. But if you go out there and you find the properties and you find the people, and you look into some of these stocks when the prices are low like this, the risk reward is in your favor as opposed to buying, when they've broken out of trading ranges and this type of thing. And so there's really a lot to be said for that. And it seems to me that you never put all of your eggs in one basket, but it seems to me that if a person looks at Logan Resources and looks at the story and the people and talks to some of the shareholders that are very excited about it, it's a story that's very interesting, and it's something that they might really want to look at and put on their radar screen.
I'd just like to say I'm not a beginner at this. I really became a gold bug in 1968. I was one of the original starters with Jim Blanchard, the committee for the legalization of gold. I went to the Duck Conference in Costa Rica when that started, and I've been attending conferences all these years. And in 1971, I bought seats on the Chicago Board of Trade, and I traded one of the first contracts of gold on January 1, 1975. So I met a lot of people in this business, and I've been very successful in picking out other good mining stocks, and I think a lot of people know that.
Well, Ray, I sure have a lot of respect for you, and I've looked at your record and what you've done and what you're doing and the tremendous energy that you have, and it looks to me like you're never going to retire from being interested in this business. Would you say that probably is the case?
It's true, because I don't think I really worked since I was 41 years old because I love it so much, and I don't consider it work. It's my hobby and my first love. I just love gold and silver and all the people who are involved in it. And I also believed in hard currency, and that's the way to go. And if I had a mentor, it was Harry Brown. I read his book in 1970, and it changed my life, and it's been a wonderful life being close to gold and silver and the people who are involved in the mining industry.
Well, Ray, thank you for the interview today, and I have to echo your comments. I read How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World, and I used to give out copies of that book to people in paperback, and I understand now that it's out of print and that some of those copies are going for $50 to $100. So it is a book that is as relevant today as it was then. It talks about working your way out of boxes and your own self-imposed mental boxes, and treating others with respect. And of course, Harry Brown was kind of the father of the silver movement in the 70s. And I personally feel, and I felt this way for some time, that if someone deserves the mantle of what Harry Brown stood for and being called the silver for the 21st century, it's David Morgan. I really believe that. And he himself, of course, was a devotee of Harry. And I think that we've got an exciting field ahead of us here with these metals prices, which are going to go higher and stay there longer than almost anyone imagines. And I'm very excited to be involved in this sector, and I'm excited to be meeting people like yourself and David and people like Seamus, because I think they're just a great bunch of people, and they're all doing things for a very honorable purpose.